Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Winter Marcus, who is going to be an advanced will character coming to RTS. I have gone over this character to a little bit just on the screenshots we had of him. This is going to be just seeing how his stuff actually works. We get a better visual look at the character as well on the right hand side. I do like the look quite a lot, although I'm not a big fan of an AK-47 without the stock. I don't know, it just doesn't feel good. And then it's just, I think every cut on that's gonna be absolutely crazy. But he's a fast character holding that knife, as you can see on the right hand side. He is very much geared up for the winter, and he's a Winter Kingdom character. Makes a lot of sense. He is effectively the leader of the Winter Kingdom as well, because he has got the leader skill. But of course we do have Ezekiel, so I guess he's more like the second in command, but he is leading the charge. On the left hand side we can see him a bit more like combat ready, and he has got a weapon in his hands on that left hand side. This is a weapon that is in one of the current events, if you want to pick this up to like match up with Marcus. If we look at his stats at level 1440, limit break 3, he has got 26,714 attack, 22,897 defense, and 26,714 HP. He is a fast character, like I said before. He is a control roller as well. Of course, he's going to be a Gold Mythic. And like I said, he is going to be joining the Winter Kingdom, and he is going to be the leader of the group. Now, first up, we'll take a look at the Adrenaline Rush. It is called Lost and Confused. It's a 55 AP cost rush. 2 enemies in the back row get confused for 2 turns. 3 other enemies get 75% heal reduction for 2 turns. So no straight up damage on this Adrenaline Rush, but there is going to be the control, and the ones that don't get controlled will have the heal reduction. So everybody's going to have an effect land on them. This is quite important for other characters that are in the Winter Kingdom. This is going to help quite a lot. Debilitating status on 2, effects on 5. So we'll do the Adrenaline Rush, and you can see as there are only 2 characters on the back row, which are Alice and Doc Stevens, those are the ones that are guaranteed to get confused. And then the 2 front row characters, which are going to be Noor and Molly down the bottom left-hand corner of the front row, and then obviously the leader. So we'll just do the rush. We don't have to target anybody because it's already dictated where it's going to land. And you can see the confuses land at the back, heal reductions land at the front. Pretty straightforward on how it's going to work. The 75% heal reduction would affect a character like Noor in terms of how much she can overheal, because she's not going to heal as much as well. It would affect people who have already been down. So for instance, if I was to take out Molly, if she was to be revived, the HP that she would have when she gets picked up would be reduced by 75%. So if it was like 40% of max HP, it would actually be 10% of max HP. So much easier to take them out again. So while it is not a full-on revive block, it is going to be quite effective in the revive situations if needed. If we look at the upgrades here, at grade 2, it gets an actual full-on upgrade where 3 other enemies get 25% heal reduction for 1 turn, and that's going to be the 2 front row and the leader. At grade 4, it gets an AP cost reduction down to 55, so initially it is going to be 66, but that's only going to require 1 copy. Then we get into the limit breaks, and at limit break 1, that's 3 copies. We get +1 to the heal reduction duration, so initially it's like 1 turn, and then it goes up to 2 turns. And at limit break 3, it gets +50% heal reduction. So again, it goes from 25% up to 50%. The confuse is always going to be 2 enemies on the back row for 2 turns, no matter what the grade. And if you see this character as more of a support character, which he kind of is because he's not doing much damage on this Adrenaline Rush, it means he's going to be good at any grade here. You're just going to be upgrading him to do his rush faster, which isn't going to be too hard to come by. If you just 1 copy, that's going to be it. And then extra is just going to be more heal reduction and for longer. It's pretty much as simple as that. The stats aren't going to make too much of a difference on this character. Maybe a little bit of survivability, but its attack output does not seem like too crazy. Limit break 1 will be required to get the second passive to make it so that his controls here have a better chance to land, because he is that control character. He'll get precision 2, making it an extra 20% reduction against enemies when he does try and confuse them, when he does try and do heal reduction. So this Adrenaline Rush is so-so. It isn't going to be doing anything in itself. It's more to help his teammates, to help your team to actually survive, and any takedowns or any bonuses you get based on the enemy having debilitating status effects like Harrison gets, it's going to be a nice bonus there. The heal reduction will help in most cases no matter what. Most teams on defense do have some sort of healing capability. Reducing heals, even if it isn't the full 100%, it's still going to be nice. Also, the fact that this is 55 AP cost rush, he does not need AP on attack, so that means you could potentially work in something different on his weapon if you so wish. Next up, we'll take a look at Marcus's signature move, and it is called Incapacitate. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3 turns, number of uses unlimited, and it is stun an enemy for the rest of combat. This has no effect in Faction Assault, so you can't cheese the boss at all, so you literally just won't do anything when you do this signature move. But in raids and war attacks, you can select on turn 1 that annoying pesky character that you just don't want to be doing any sig moves or any rushes. Now, that things like specialist skills might still proc, so for instance, if you did decide to stun Nor, she wouldn't be able to do her signature move to stop herself from getting decapped, and she would be able to do her rush to revive people, but her specialist skill would still have a chance to proc. Her passives would still work as well, so that's obviously something to note. But this would mean that you have a free reign at attacking characters, because this would effectively disarm that character as well, so he's like kind of a disarm in that case to a certain extent. But there are also characters that get bonus damage against stun characters, be them strong characters with the weapon from the armory, or Raven, for instance, who has that inbuilt on her weapon. I think it's actually an improved version. And we also have characters like Harrison who get boosted attack damage when he rushes if there are more people with control on them. So if you decide to stun someone on the front row or the leader and then do Marcus's rush, there'll be 3 characters with debilitating status effects, so it'll be definitely setting it up for Harrison there. Now, do remember as well that when it comes to a signature move, you get 35 AP when you do a signature move, so you'll be able to get quite a big percentage of Winter Marcus's rush just by doing a sig move. I've got 11 from an AP weapon, and if I do my signature move, it will go up quite high, as you can see, really high. If he gets focused, he'll potentially get his rush. I'll just do some basic attacks here. I'll actually defend with Glenn because he does give AP, but what will happen is we'll see some AP potentially come in on my characters. Will it go to Marcus? It doesn't look like it has. He got a little bit, but he naturally got his rush the next turn based on other parts of his kit. We'll look at that in a little bit. But when it comes to now doing his rush, if I do his rush, you can see it doesn't matter who I target, but the back row characters are controlled with debilitating, and so's the front row. And this is, like I say, quite beneficial. Now we'll go straight into the upgrades on the signature move, and you can see at grade 3 it gets -1 to starting cooldown, so it goes from a turn 3 starting cooldown down to a turn 2 starting cooldown. At grade 5 it gets -1 to cooldown, so it goes from 4 turn cooldown down to 3 turn cooldown. And at limit break 2 it gets another -1 to starting cooldown, so it goes from turn 2 down to turn 1 starting cooldown. So I'd say most likely you do want to aim trying to get to that turn 1 starting cooldown. Being able to fully control a character with stun off of turn 1 is immense. Stun is the most powerful of the controls, the debilitating status effect. It stops people from gaining AP from attacking because they can't attack. They can gain AP from being attacked, but obviously if they're stunned for the rest of combat, that has to get cleansed somehow. It also stops people from using their rush, their signature move. They can't do anything. Their weapons no longer work, but things like mods will still work, and things like passives will still work, and specialist skills to a certain extent. So just be aware of that. And also you can cheese this, of course. You could use defense while stunned, so be very careful which character you use this against. Make sure you pay attention to what mods they have when you do this. There's no RNG in this. It's completely up to you. You click the character you want to use it on and then swipe left. It's pretty much as simple as that. So this is something that we've seen before. We've got something like Trader confused to the end of combat. I think we've got someone who has a daze till the end of combat. So we have got characters who do this. We're probably going to see a impaired to the end of combat at some point. I wouldn't be surprised. So this is by no means like a surprise sort of effect. But there are, of course, a couple of cleanses. We've got Jesus 2000 who does do cleanse. So against those fast teams, it may not work as well. And then we also have Priya who has cleanse, but she is mainly a leader and you don't see those tough teams around as much. Cleanse weapons on alert characters are a thing as well. And obviously some characters like Eris cleanse when they're going to Outlaws, so it's not going to work on her either. So there are a couple of like hiccups when it comes to using this. You're going to get used to which ones are obviously best to use it against, but like I say, this is a very powerful signature move. But again, no damage, just like the rush, so he doesn't necessarily need attack at this point, because he's doing no damage on the rush, no damage on the signature move. It's just going to be basic attack damage. So potentially you just want to gear him out for full support mode. HP, defense, and a weapon, just to keep him alive. Now before we move on to checking out the passives and seeing how they work, We're going to be doing an advanced token giveaway, of course, because Winter Marcus is an advanced character going on to the advanced token wheel. And all you have to do to enter is type in the chat as part of a sentence, just so you don't get spammed by YouTube, the word boss. Because this guy is the leader of the Winter Kingdom, you're going to have to type boss in your comment. I think I know a couple of comments that are going to be made on this one. But that will get you into the giveaway. We're going to be giving away 5k to 3 winners, and one of those 3 winners will get boosted up to 10k. So we'll have, obviously, first place getting a 10k reward. If you want your chance to enter, this will probably get drawn into the new year, so do stay tuned for that. Generally, it's always going to be on a Monday or a Tuesday stream when the winners get drawn. Now, we did have some winners drawn last week, but I'm going to give them a little bit more time to claim their rewards because it is the Christmas holidays. Make sure to check those Monday streams if you do enter to see if you're a winner. Also, if you've got your notifications turned on, I do try and reply to all the winners on YouTube, so you should be notified when I reply to you. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway. Now, back to the video. So now let's check out Winter Marcus's mythic abilities. These are his passive skills, of course. He has got precision because he is a control character. Enemy resistances are 40% lower against his character, which is great because he's got confuse, stun, heal reduction so far. And then obviously it's just going to be a flat reduction on those resists. If someone's got a 65% resist mod, it's going to get reduced down to 25% resist instead, which is obviously much nicer for Marcus and your team. If we look at the next one, it's called Winter Resistant. At the start of each wave, 100% chance all teammates get 60% taunt resistance for 2 turns, and all Winter Kingdom Allegiance teammates get 60% stun and daze resistance for 2 turns. This is actually really good, of course. It means you can, build a team specifically with Marcus in mind as your leader, and then obviously change the mods up based on him being the leader. If you are using Winter Kingdom characters on that team, that means you're going to get taunt, stun, and daze resistance to a pretty high standard. 60% is pretty decent. And then you can just, use confuse resist or, impair resist, whatever you want in the bottom right hand corner. It does also mean that your damage dealers can do 2 attack versus mods, one in the main slot and one in the wild class slot, without any real issue because, normally you do that anyway, but now you're getting some extra resistances on top. The next one is called Precise Guidance. At the start of each wave, all teammates get 200 crit for 1 turn, 2 turns if they are a Winter Kingdom Allegiance. Now this is kind of interesting. It's not a huge amount of crit, obviously. I mean, it is in terms of just pure crit, but it doesn't guarantee a crit. This probably will land at somewhere in the region of like 65 to 70% chance to crit in itself. And then obviously if you've got 1535s, you'll add on top of that, so on and so forth. However, it is worth noting that Winter Marcus's weapon you can get from the store doesn't have 1535 on it. It has an improved ransack. So that can offset the fact that he's not going to be giving crit on that, but he's not going to be giving any damage, but he will be giving damage on his leader skill, which we'll check out in a minute. But it depends on how you want to build your team. It maybe seems like Winter Marcus's teams aren't percentage damage based. I guess it depends on the characters he's lined up against, or next to, should I say. The next one and the last one is probably the most interesting. It says, at the start of each turn, 100% chance all fast and alert teammates get 10% AP for each fighter on the enemy team with a debilitating status effect. And all strong and tough teammates get 100% damage over time reduction for 1 turn. Now, I think most people will be ignoring the second part, which is the all strong and tough teammates getting the damage over time reduction, because that isn't really that amazing. It's nice, but it's not that amazing. I think most people will be looking at the AP gain potential here. Fast and alert, pretty nice traits to have really quick on the AP game. We have got some really nice fast characters like Agent 46 and Sophia, and this will happen at the beginning of the fight as well, if you can somehow get some control in before the fight starts. There are some characters that can do that. For instance, we have Laura as a command, does seem to have a impair at the beginning of the fight, which obviously is going to give some potential AP there. Then it rolls on to the next turn, and because Marcus has already put down a debilitating status effect, it's going to be 2 characters. So the AP gain is going to be improved very, very quickly. Now we're going to start the fight, and I'm going to use this team right here. As you can see, default weapons everywhere, no 8% weapons. This is the most important thing. And I just want to show you the AP gain potential. We're not going to attack with Agent 46, and you're going to see how much AP he can gain basically just standing there doing nothing. So we start the fight, and we instantly get some AP, and that's because we do have a bit of control here on Maggie. I believe this comes from Laura. And then what we can do is we can target this character up here with Carl, And what we'll do is we'll stun 3 because of how Carl works. There's a lot of medics in his team. Maybe a big mistake. And then, you know what I'll say? I'm going to actually control his back character as well. So now we've got 5 going on. We'll just get in some basic attacks. I'll defend with Glenn so he doesn't give out any AP. Now watch Agent 46's AP. We're not going to attack with him. We're going to defend. It should jump up by quite a reasonable amount just based on the AP gain from Winter Marcus here. And there we go. He gets 33 just from, you know, being in the same team as Marcus. Now if he would have done his signature move off of turn 1, he would obviously have his rush naturally this turn. Just like Marcus got himself, just like Carl did. But this is just to show you how like good the AP game can be. And Glenn also got that as well. So if you have quite nice controlling characters, and if the enemy is using a lot of medics in this case, and you've got Carl, it could potentially line up quite nicely depending on the damage dealer you want to use. However, if for whatever reason you wanted to use a full strong and tough team, you see they all have this 100% damage over time reduction. Now at the moment this doesn't seem that useful, but in the future, you never know. There could be a character that comes out that has bleed on their lead skill. We could get like a Zachary 2.0 where you have to use damage reduction. And there aren't too many like top tier damage reduction characters around at the moment. You know, a lot of them are sort of countering Zachary, and Zachary's kind of fallen off. It only takes a new character to be released where it's going to be a problem again. Don't forget, this is all damage over time. This is going to be bleed. This is going to be burn as well. You can also see there's a bunch of resists on these characters like there were before. We've got 2 Winter Kingdom characters down the bottom in Harrison and Benjamin. And you can see all the resists that they're going to bring to the table, including that crit buff as well, which is going to be a speech bubble buff, as you can see. Now we look at the upgrades on these passives. You can see it gets the first half of Winter Resistant at grade 1, where it's a 50% chance all teammates get 60% taunt resistance for 2 turns. And Winter Kingdom get this stun and daze resistance on top. Then we get Precision 1 at grade 2, 20% lower resistances against this character. Then we get Winter Resistant 2 at grade 3, making it a 100% chance those resistances come in for all teammates and those Winter Kingdom characters. Then we move on to grade 4 with Precise Guidance, where all teammates get 100 crit for 1 turn and then 2 turns if they are Winter Kingdom Allegiance. And then at grade 5, Adaptive Nature 1 comes in with a 50% chance where fast and alert teammates gain AP based on the amount of debilitating status effects on the enemy team. I don't think it stacks. So for instance, if you have one character with 5, it doesn't stack like that. It's about the amount of characters that have it. So the maximum you can get is 50%. And then obviously the tough and strong teammates get the 100% damage over time reduction for 1 turn. This is a 50% chance to happen before we hit the limit breaks. Then on to the limit breaks. With limit break 1, Precision 2 comes in, making it a grand total of 40% lower resistances against this character. At limit break 2, he gets the second half of Precise Guidance, and that's going to be all teammates getting 200 crit for 1 turn, 2 turns if they are part of the Winter Kingdom. And then at limit break 3, that 50% chance to do the AP gain for alert and fast and the damage reduction for strong and tough now gets boosted up to a 100% chance at the beginning of every turn. That includes the very first turn of the fight and then every subsequent turn in the fight as well. Be it in raids, be it in SR, be it in faction assault, be it in anything. Obviously, the most powerful passive here is going to be Adaptive Nature based on him buffing his teammates so significantly. But the other ones aren't terrible. You know, crit chance is obviously decent. There are a lot of characters that rely on hitting crits, especially characters in the Winter Kingdom. Based on, you know, Ezekiel hitting crits, he does things like normalize because of his new specialist skill. So it was worth having a bit more crit on the first couple of turns. It isn't a 100% chance, but it is going to obviously stack with crit numbers you already have. But this does 100% put Winter Marcus in that full support role. The only damage he's doing is on basic attack. So you definitely have to have good damage dealers in some capability, whether it be via trauma, exhaust, or actual percentage damage, or like infection, bleed, burn. Because Winter Marcus is bringing none of that to the table. He will be helping and enabling those characters do their rushes or survive longer, but that's about it. Now, Winter Marcus, of course, has that leader skill, being the leader of the Winter Kingdom, apparently. All Winter Kingdom Allegiance teammates get 50% attack. All other teammates get 40% attack. So while he isn't doing much damage himself, he is bringing quite a lot of damage potential for the teammates. This is pretty much exactly the same as Trader's leader skill, so it is very good. Winter Allegiance teammates are going to get a little bit of a boost, but 50% attack is very nice, especially for Harrison, who is all about the percentage damage for sure. If you don't want to use any Winter Kingdom characters with this guy and you want to try and go for that fast, alert team with the AP gain advantage in the passives, it will still be pretty significant at 40% attack boost. Now the last thing to look at is going to be the weapon for Winter Marcus, and he has no attached weapon at all. So I think it's probably better off to look at the weapon that's actually in the current event to see how useful it is for Marcus himself. And that weapon is in the Ice Keys part of the Grey Market, as you can see. And it has got 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved bonus HP and AP to all teammates. This is the same as Clementine's upgrade. And in the last slot, it has improved Ransack, attack still 3 positive effects from the enemy you hit. Now, if it was just a normal Ransack, it would be good because this is a fast weapon. This can be used on Marcus or any other fast character. So it might be worth picking up regardless, but is it good enough for Marcus? You will be losing out on 1535 in that last slot. So if you are going to build a team that is relying on percentage damage, it probably wouldn't be a good one to pick up for Marcus. But if you are going to build a team that's relying on effects or like trauma, you know, like exhaust, infection, then it could be good, you know, to use on Marcus because obviously he's going to be stealing away buffs that characters do. For instance, in that team that I showed you before, Nor was only getting heal reduction on that first turn. She could have potentially had a really nice resist mod, like a 90% resist mod on stun, and I didn't want to risk the stun on her, so she does on the first turn her signature move to give herself decat resistance and the halo. I could just steal that away with this weapon. When I take her out, then obviously she's down for the count, which is obviously going to be great. It really depends on how you want to set up the team to what kind of weapon you want to use in his hands. But either way, you've got options, and those options can be changed at any point. Just because it is not an attached weapon, it's very easy to just decide, hey, I want to go this way right now because I want to use heavy AP, but potentially in the future, who knows, exhaust could come in. But you've got options regardless of which one you want to choose. You can change it up at any time to test it out to see which one works better for you. So this was Gold Mythic Winter Marcus, and I think he's going to be pretty nice as a support leader. You obviously have options to use Winter Kingdom with him or not. He's going to work pretty good for regardless of which character he's going to use with him. You could build teams with him against potential upcoming damage over time teams because of part of his passives. You could go for quick rushes. You've got a lot of different options when it comes to using Marcus and how you want to approach defense teams. Don't forget, you could potentially just use Marcus on 2 different attack teams as a leader, and both those attack teams are going to do completely different things based on the characters you put in those teams. Be it tough, be it strong, be it fast, be it alert. And it's actually kind of cool and unique, honestly, for what we've seen in the RTS. So it could be quite an interesting and fun character, like I say. Remember, if you pull for this character, you will get advances on the Advanced Rush as well, where you can get some of those advanced crates back if you so wish. I'm probably going to do a little pull for this character to see if I can get fortunate, maybe off of like 6 or 12 pulls. But that's it in this video, guys. Best of luck if you decide to pull for this character. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.